When Bobby Slowik speaks, we listen and we break it down. The Texans' second-year offensive coordinator. He's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of stuff to work with. He's got a lot of decisions to be made. Let's hear Bobby Slowik live in the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the...
Bobby Slowik, he has some interesting stuff to say the other day at practice. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans digital content. We're close, very, very close to 10.4K. I want to get there. I want to try to get to 12K before the season. The community is growing. Appreciate everyone for being a part of it. Post-game show immediately after the Steelers game. Let's hear from Bobby Slowik, live from Ohio. Second-year offensive coordinator for the Texans, future head coach. Sounds like a head coach when he goes to the podium. Also, don't ask him the same question twice. Take it away, Bobby.
Maybe a little frustration setting in on the offense. What you kind of make of the practice today?
Yeah, we were rolling pretty good yesterday. And really for the last couple of days, we've had some good days of stacking things together. Today was tough with the elements. The balls got pretty slick as practice went on, which I think was evident and you could see. But it's good training for us. Houston's just different as far as the heat goes, but we don't deal with the wet conditions as often as I feel like you do in some other places. So it's really good training for us. Just how to adjust to that. Receivers, how to keep our feet. O-linemen, how to anchor. How we still want to approach the run game. We need it, and I think that showed today. The defense made the adjustment today, and we didn't, and we will going forward.
Him and D'Amico both say that. They both mention how they really do appreciate the fact that they are able to practice in the rain. Like they truly do. And you look at some of the situations you might find yourself in late in the season, whether it's traveling to Kansas City, traveling to Buffalo, traveling up north to Baltimore, and all those situations, chances are you'll have to deal with it. So I think he and D'Amico kind of synchronized and cohesive when it comes to appreciating the reps in the unfavorable conditions. Here's Bobby Slowik talking about competing with the defense, the competition that's going on. A lot of trash talking stuff.
Yeah, it's competitive. It's kind of all the way across the board. O-line, D-line, receivers, corners, tight ends, backers, backs, linebackers. It gets really competitive all the time. It always feels like it's a back and forth. The scheme wise with Burke and D'Amico, it kind of feels a little bit like who has a chalk glass. He'll come out one day and we'll have some issues, and then we come out the next day and we have answers, and then it just endlessly cycles. But that's training camp. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it competitive. That's what's really cool about just being able to hammer in and drill in your fundamentals. And that's really what training camp's about, is when you're on your fundamentals, it really, what I call, what D'Amico called, really doesn't matter.
Wide receiver playing time. We know the top three. We likely know the top four. 5 to 6. A lot of question marks. Here's Bobby Slowik on that.
Yeah, it really goes back to fundamentals. Guys that can go in and execute what we preach across the board in the pass game and the run game from the starting point fundamentally, then can go execute that in the game. And particularly if they can play multiple positions, which almost all of our backups can play multiple positions, it just helps get them on the field in different areas and different spots. And then how we approach it as an offense is we're always going to try to put people in the best position to do what they do best. So we're going to make sure guys are in for specific things that they're really good at. And if they're not necessarily great at something, we'll make sure that they got 100% in the tank when their play is called.
Watch this. You don't want to be asked twice.
I know it's early. Some of the reasons for some of the struggles that they
Yeah, I just hit that. You're all right. But
These nuts.
basically, today we've stacked some good days. We've got back to executing, being efficient in both run and pass game. And then today the defense came out, they competed, and we competed, but we weren't quite as ready to handle the elements today. It was wet, it was rainy. The balls got more difficult as practice went on, as far as how to grip them, how to throw them, how to take the snap, things like that. It got harder for the O-lineman as practice went on to anchor, to fire off the ball. And we're going to play in games like this. We need the training, we need the work. The defense adjusted faster and better than we did, and that's what we got to go in and we got to talk about, we got to fix.
You may have answered this question already, but what do you thought so far about Blake Fisher?
Blake Fisher.
He's out there competing, just like the rest of the crew. I think we say it endlessly.
Over under 6 games Blake Fisher starts this year. I had it at 4. It's gone up after talking with the people. Shout out to the people, by the way. Be sure to subscribe, right along. Best Texans coverage in the country. Blake Fisher, surprising pick. Seems like a good one, though.
But, we really preach that to the whole group just tirelessly. That's what this is about. It's about going out and every day growing and getting better than you were the day before. And by the time week 1 rolls around, we know we're going to be ready. But in the meantime, all we can do is get better every day. And Blake has done that. In pass pro, he particularly has made some technique adjustments that have helped him for sure. The rushers he's going against have helped him. I know he's had a lot of conversations with them on what they're thinking, what they're doing. And, talking to other old linemen has obviously helped him. And then the run game for us is just very different than where he came from college. But he's been doing a good job. He's bought in.
From Notre Dame, man.
And really right now I'd say he's probably a little further ahead in the run game than the pass game. But he's just got to put his head down and keep growing.
Little further ahead in the run game than the pass game. That's kind of a rare thing when you play tackle on this squad. Cody Stutes asking about the backup running backs. 2 down, non-mixins.
Yeah, it's a fun group to coach. Joe kind of leads the way, even though he hasn't been practicing.
He does.
His energy's always there. He's always around. He's even when we're on the field, he's running around the huddle, getting people hyped up. So he's the driving force for sure. And then the rest of the crew kind of feeds off that. Damien's feeding off that. He's putting his head down, working. He's made huge strides from where he was at last year and what he's grown in and what he's trying to do. Cam is obviously the newest to the crew, but he's been running a lot of very similar stuff in LA for a long time, and then in Minnesota it was pretty similar as well. So it's not completely new to him, and he picked it up quick. You can see the talent and the vision and the cutting ability, which is impressive coming off the 2 injuries he had. So he's been fun. We got the 2 young rookies, that rookies are always enjoyable because they always just bring something new to the table. And then,
damn, that's a far cry from Bill O'Brien's "The Rookies Don't Know Anything."
Dare and JJ, they're really probably the 2 most consistent guys. They day in, day out, they bring the lunch pail. And they're pretty even keel all the way through, and it's a fun group.
CJ, what's the next step? What's the next step for CJ Stroud? Coach?
Yeah, same as everyone else. I just want to see him grow. Everybody has a whole lot that we could continue to get better at. We can continue to improve upon. And it could be something big that really affects the entire offense, or it could be something very small that's just for him individually. But every day we give out specific coaching points to individuals. Obviously, he gets a lot of those, and just focusing on those every day, emphasizing those every day, and just stacking good days right now is really huge for CJ.
You're listening to Bobby Slowik. We're about to hear him talking about installing. How do you not show too much in preseason versus putting new stuff in when the games actually count?
Yeah, truthfully, training camp and preseason, we kind of emphasize, I guess you could say, the starting point of our scheme. And that goes back to what I preached earlier about fundamentals. and really hammering and drilling those in. Like in training camp, you're not always going to be in a great position to do what you need to do. I'm not always going to script a great play call for CJ to go and throw to number one. I might intentionally script a play where he has to get all the way to last in the progression as an outlet. Like, we want it to be hard. And they embrace that. They know that. There's days it gets frustrating for all of us, and there's days where, you know, we really are on our game and we go out and we perform like we believe we should, and we got to keep those. We got to get more consistent right now. That's what this is about. That's what scheme-wise, that usually takes off, evolves as we go through the season. As coaches, you're always talking about ideas. You know, you kind of have a library as you go through the offseason. Oh, this is a good way to do this. This is a nice new little wrinkle. But training camp, you're focused in on this is what we need to do every week, no matter what we're doing schematically to go win a game.
See, I love that because he's admitting that he's trying to make it hard on CJ in preseason. Like in the regular season, you're trying to make it as easy as possible. But I love hearing that, and that's some really good insight from Bobby Slowik. He's about to talk about Tank Dell. Tank Dell heading into his second season. Here's Bobby on Tank.
Yeah, I've just been fired up to see him pick up right where he left off. You know, he's playing really fast. He's executing the routes really well. He's done everything we've asked him to do. He can run for days. You know, he embraces all phases of the game, whether it's receiver, returner, run game, all that stuff. I mean, he's all about it. He's been doing a great job. If he just keeps putting his head down and working, he's going to be where he wants to be.
Now here's the wide receiver group as a whole from Bobby Slowik.
Yeah, I just answered this one also, but it's kind of it's a cool room. There's a lot going on. Obviously, as far as players we have there that can go perform, and you know, a lot of them right now are doing that, getting better every day, showing their best selves. You know, and it's our job when we get in season and when we get into preseason games to really make sure we're putting guys in position to go show that to everyone else. But we really know what each individual is really good at. And we need to keep stacking where we need improvement for each of those guys, and it's been fun to see so far.
Thanks, Bobby.
Yep, thanks.
These nuts.
Bobby Slowik twice. I respect that. I just answered this. You're sitting right here. You listening to me? I mean, I'm up here. I'm giving you 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes of my time. Why are you asking me the same thing that I've already been asked? Shout out to Bobby Slowik, the Hardo, future head coach, current Hardo, current overseer of one of the most talented offenses in the NFL. Let's see what happens. Shout out to him. Shout out to you. Appreciate y'all for coming through. That's the Bobby Slowik reaction. Later on today, we're going to have the live practice report. Got a special edition coming out tomorrow. Special guests really throughout the week. I got a few lined up that you'll really want to hear from. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to ride along. Post-game show after Pittsburgh. We're always on. Lives at 1:00 every day after practice, 10:30 at night. Do not miss a thing. And always remember, when it comes to this Texans stuff, whether you ask Bobby Slowik a question for the first time, the second time, when it comes to this Texans stuff, we're all in it together. Thanks for coming through.
Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not 2. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube.